Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shri Shri Radha Vinod Vihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Pravishta Maha-bhagavat Śrīla Gaura Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupa Nugauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shard Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai Jai Shri Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai Jai the Gauriya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Kishore was asking, how are my parents? Well, they aren't here yet. They're going to be arriving in about an hour from now. Yeah, there was traffic and blah, blah, blah. So, yep. Haribol Champak Mataji. One second, let me just check on YouTube and Facebook. It's loading. Alright, so I don't have so much time to read because my parents are about to arrive in India. I mean, like in Mayapur. And so I'm just going to quickly start with the Mangalacharan. And then we'll do a recap. Oops. Alright. Ajnanatirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ajanulambhita Bhujao Kanakavadato Sankirtanaikapitaro Kamalaya-taksho Vishwambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharmapalo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha Jaya 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 Vishwambhara Dvijaraj Jaya Vishwambhara Priya Vaishnava Samaj Gaurachandra Jai Dharma Setu Mahadhir Jaya Sankirtana Moy Sundara Sharir Jaya Nityanandir Bandhava Dhana Pran Jaya Gadadharir Jaya Gadadhara Advaitir Prem Dham Jaya Shri Jagadananda Priya Atishai Jaya Vakreshwar Kashishwarir Hriday Jai Jai Shivasadi Priya Varganath Jiva Prati Koro Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Jeno Amriter Khanda Je Katha Shunile Ghuche Antar Pashanda Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Bhai Shuno Ekachite Sankirtana Arambha Hoilo Jeno Mate. O dear brothers, please hear attentively the topics of Madhya-khaṇḍa, wherein the inauguration of the Sankirtan pastimes is described. Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya devi tvam nayamam charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai Kshiptashtakamaditaranga madhe Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. Ore Mura Lok Shuno Chaitanya Mangal Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas Chaitanya Lila Ravyas Vrindavana Das Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Mangal Jahara Shravane Nashe Sarvaya Mangal Chaitanya Nitar Jate Jani Mahima Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima Bhagavate Jato Bhakti Siddhanter Sar Likhiya Chin Iha Jani Koriya Udhar Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan Sheho Maha Vaishnava Hoy Totokon Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Bhakta Shri Chaitanya Vrindavana Dasa Pade Koti Namaskar Aiche Granta Kori Teo Tari Lo Sangsar Narayani Chaitanya Uchishta Bhajan Tar Garbe Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan Tar Ki Arbhuta Chaitanya Charita Varnan Jahara Shravani Shuddha Koila Tribhuvan Sahaje Vichitra Madhur Chaitanya Vihar Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Amriter Dhar. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet, and when they are described by Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai, Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai, Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada ki Jai. Haribo, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, and Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Pradyumna Prabhu, oh, I already said that. Rukmini Didi, Haribo, and Rupmanjali Didi, and Nitai. Haribol, everybody. Alright, so if you're in our WhatsApp group, you would have seen that my parents are going to be arriving in like, I don't know, 45 minutes from now. And yeah, so I'm going to try to make this a short reading. Well, if Chandrasekhar is able to help my parents bring their bags inside, he's teaching right now, but if he's able to help them with that, then I could go on a bit longer. But yeah, just letting you know. Oh, thanks, Champak Mataji. Yeah, it is going to be nice, sweet to see them. All right, so I'm going to just kind of... What verse did we... Oops, I forgot to share my screen. Okay, so yesterday we read up to verse 180 what? No, 287. 286. Okay, so let's recap up to 286. One second. Just need to get this out of the way. 1 second. Alright, I'm not going to recap everything that nicely. Just okay, so we read Mahaprabhu was giving instructions. In this way, the Lord, in the mood of Kapila, instructed his mother. Upon hearing his words, Shachi merged in ecstasy. Whether eating, sleeping, or remaining awake, the Lord did not speak of anything other than Kṛṣṇa. When all the devotees heard from their friends about this, they discussed together and began to contemplate. Has Kṛṣṇa manifested in his body? Is this the result of the devotees' association or because of previous purificatory processes? As all the devotees contemplated in this way, their hearts filled with happiness. The devotees' distress was vanquished, and the atheists were uprooted as the Supreme Lord Vishvambar manifested himself. In the mood of a Vaishnav, Mahaprabhu Vishvambar constantly saw Kṛṣṇa present everywhere. He saw Kṛṣṇa present everywhere in the world. He heard the names of Kṛṣṇa both day and night, and he constantly chanted the name of Kṛṣṇa Chandra. Oh, 1 second. If I paste this, then I can skip. Okay. The same Lord, who was once absorbed in the taste of scholastic pastimes, did not relish anything now other than Kṛṣṇa. In the early morning, all his students would gather for studies. When the Lord of the three worlds began to teach, nothing other than Kṛṣṇa came from his mouth. The students asked, "What is the meaning of Siddha Varna Samamnaya?" The Lord replied, "Narayan is situated in every letter of the alphabet." Narayanor bhuto yam varnakramaha. The students asked, How were the letters of the alphabet perfected? The Lord replied, "By the merciful glance of Kṛṣṇa." The students asked, "O Pandit, please explain properly." The Lord replied, "Every moment remember Kṛṣṇa." I am explaining to you about the worship of Kṛṣṇa, which is the purport of the beginning, middle, and end of all Vedic literature. Hearing the Lord's explanation, the students began to laugh. Some remarked, "It appears he's affected by an imbalance of life airs." The students asked, "From where did you get this explanation?" The Lord replied, "This is the verdict of the scriptures." The Lord said, "If you cannot understand now, then I will explain to you in detail this afternoon. I will go and sit in a solitary place and look at my books. Let us meet together in the afternoon." Hearing the Lord's words, all the students packed up their books and left. So they packed up their book and left. All the students reported to Gangadas Pandit they reported everything that Nimai had explained to them. "In every explanation that Nimai Pandit has given recently, He explains Krishna as the meaning of every word. Since he has returned from Gaya, he does not mention anything other than Krishna in his explanations. He always chants the name of Krishna, and the hairs of his body stand on end. Sometimes he laughs or shouts loudly as he manifests different moods. Every day he takes the dhatu, the verbal root, of every word and explains Krishna through grammatical rules. O Pandit, we are unable to understand his present characteristics, so please tell us what to do. Hearing the student's words, the Brahman Gangadas Pandit, who is the crest jewel of teachers, burst into laughter. Gangadas said, "Go home now and return soon. This afternoon I will instruct him. Then he may teach you properly. You may also come with him in the afternoon." All the students happily returned to their homes, and in the afternoon they came with Vishwambar to the house of Gangadas Pandit. The Lord took the dust from the feet of his guru, and his guru blessed him, saying, "May you attain knowledge." The Lord's teacher said, "My dear Vishwambar, please hear my words. The studying of a Brahmana is not the result of being less fortunate. Your maternal grandfather is Nilambar Chakravarti, and your father is Jagannath Mishra Purandar. There are no fools in either your maternal or paternal families, and you yourself are most qualified to explain the commentaries. If by giving up studies one becomes a devotee, then were your father and grandfather not devotees? Remembering all this, practice your lessons properly. Only through proper study can one become a Vaishnav Brahmana. How will an ignorant twice-born know what is proper and what is not? Knowing this, you should chant the name of Krishna and concentrate on your studies. Go now, but promise me that you will teach the scriptures properly without any different meanings." The Lord said, "By the mercy of your feet, no one in Navadvip can stand before me in debate. Who in Navadvip can refute my explanations of the sutras? I will teach publicly in the middle of the city. Let me see who has the power to challenge me." Gangadas became pleased on hearing these words of the Lord, who then offered respects at his guru's feet and departed. Notice in that answer, he didn't really say that he was going to teach them. That was a very vague answer. He just said, nobody will be able to stand before me and debate. He didn't say that he's going to not teach the names of Krishna anymore. Grammar through the names of Krishna. Okay, so the Lord offered respects at Gangadas's feet and departed. I offer my humble obeisances at the feet of Gangadas Pandit, whose disciple is Lord of the Vedas and master of the goddess of learning. What else is there to be attained by Gangadas Pandit, whose student is worshipped throughout the 14 worlds? As Lord Vishwambar walked along with his students, he appeared like the full moon surrounded by the stars. He whose lotus feet are kept on the heart of Lakshmi came and sat at the doorstep of a local resident's house. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday. Now we'll continue from this point on. Hari Bol Surevi Didi. Yes, Rukmini Didi, HNV1. I'm just kidding. Rukmini Didi, are you still taking the Harinama Mittavakaranam classes? I'm in the 4th batch of Padam Sundar's classes. We're just I don't know what number are we on? We're still sort of in the beginning of Nam Prakaram. Okay. Yoga Patta Chande Vastra Koriya Bandhan Sutrer Karoy Prabhu Khandan Sthapan. Wearing his cloth like a sannyasi, the Lord repeatedly established and refuted sutras. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. For an explanation of the phrase Yogapatta Chande, one should refer to Adi Khanda chapter 10 verse 12. प्रभु बोले संधि कार्य ज्ञान नाही जार काली जुगे भट्टाचार्य पदवी ताहार शब्द ज्ञान नाही जार से तर्क बाखाने आमारे तो प्रभु दीते नारे कौन जाने जे आमी खंडन करी जे करी स्थापन देखी ताहा अन्यथा koru kon jan. The Lord said, in Kali Yuga, one who does not have any knowledge about the conjunction of words is awarded the title of Bhattacharya, and he who has no knowledge of grammar is engaged in explaining logic. But none of them can defeat me. Who can challenge the way I refute and re-establish a sutra? Gaudiya Bhashya. For an elaboration on these verses, one should refer to Adi-khaṇḍa chapter 10 verses 42 to 45 and chapter 12 verses 271 to 275. E mata bole Vishwambara Vishwanath pratyuttar koribek heno shakti kata. Anyways, in this way, Vishwambar, the Lord of the universe, spoke. Who has the power to answer his challenge? Wow, you're in the 800s. My God. Wow. Okay. So now 292. Wow, that's 800s. That's getting close to I think there's in the Madhyam version there's 1,000, there's 1,200, right? So you're getting close to the end. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Ganga deki bare jata adhyapaka jai shuniya sabar ahankara churna hoy. The pride of those teachers who heard such words as they passed by on their way. The pride of those teachers who heard such words as they passed by on their way to take bath in the Ganga was smashed to pieces. Who in Navadvip had the power to establish a conclusion before Vishwambar? In this way, oops, did I forget to read the Bengali? Okay. Kar Shakti Ache Vishwambarer Samipe Siddhanta Dibek Heno Ache Navadvipe. Who in Navadvip had the power to establish a conclusion before Vishwambar? E mata aveshe bakhane Vishwambar Chari danda ratri tabu nahi avasar. In this way, Vishwambar was absorbed in ecstasy as he continued to give his explanations well into the night. Daibe ar eka nagari ar duare eka mahabhagyavan ache vipravare. By providence, one most fortunate Brahmana was sitting at the doorstep of a nearby house. Ratnagarbha Ācārya Vikhyatatar Nam Prabhur Pitar Shangi Janma Ekagram. He was well known by the name Ratnagarbha Ācārya, and he was a friend of the Lord's father, being born in the same village. Oh, Hare Krishna, Shubhananda Prabhu. Oh, I forgot to send you the. I'll send it to you after this reading, the invitation to. Oh, and Rukmini Didi, you know, Param Sundar is going to be starting a Sanskrit thing, like going through the commentaries of Srimad Bhagavatam. He's been going over that with you already, hasn't he? Anyways, I'm just curious, are you planning on joining those classes of his? I think it's 8 p.m. on Fridays. That's when they'll start. Okay, so by providence, one most fortunate Brahmana was sitting at the doorstep of a nearby house. He was known by the name Ratnagarbha Ācārya, and he was a friend of the Lord's father, being born of the same village. Tena putra tar Krishna pada makaranda Krishnananda Jiva Jadunata Kavi Chandra. His three sons, Krishnananda, Jiva, and Yadunath Kavi Chandra, were like bees at the lotus feet of Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. Krishnananda was one of Gangadas Pandit's main students. That's explained in Adi-khanda 8:38. He joins the Lord and his associates in sporting in the waters of the Ganga after the deliverance of Jagai and Madhai. We'll read about that in Madhya-khaṇḍa 13:337. And he was an associate of Nityananda Prabhu. That's explained in CC Adi 1150. Regarding Jiva Pandit, the Antya-khaṇḍa 5:751 states, Jiva Pandit was magnanimous and most fortunate. Lord Nityananda enjoyed various pastimes in his house. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 1144 states, Śrī Jiva Pandit glorified the qualities of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. According to the Gaur Ganadhesh Dipika 169, he appeared in the pastimes of Krishna as the Vrajvasi named Indira. It's amazing how during this time when they found the references for all these obscure references, for these personalities, they didn't have any kind of database or anything. Like they knew, Srila Saraswati Thakur and those serving with him in the publications knew Srimad Bhagavatam that well that they could find any random name. They knew they could find every part of Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavata where he's mentioned, and Gaur Ganadhesh Dipika. Regarding Yadunath Kavi Chandra, the Antya-khaṇḍa 5:735 states, Yadunath Kavi Chandra was full of the transcendental mellows of love for Krishna. Nityananda constantly showered his mercy on him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 1135, it is stated, Yadunath Kavi Chandra was a great devotee. Lord Nityananda Prabhu always danced in his heart. Okay, so those three associates, those are the three sons of Ratnagarbha Ācārya, Krishnananda, Jiva Pandit, and Yadunath Kavi Chandra. Bhagavata Parama Adare Dvijavar, Bhagavata Shloka Pore Koriya Adhar. That topmost Brahman had the highest respect for the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he would recite the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam with great affection. Cool, I'll be joining that also. Okay, 299. When the hungry cowherd boys requested Krishna for some food, he sent them to some Brahmins who were performing sacrifices nearby. But they were turned away by the Brahmanas because they considered Krishna an ordinary mortal being. Disappointed, the cowherd boys returned to Krishna, who then sent them to the wives of those Brahmanas. As soon as those Brahmanas' wives, who were spontaneously attracted to hearing the transcendental qualities of Krishna, heard of Krishna's appeal for food, they immediately took innumerable foodstuffs of 4 types with them, and, in spite of being obstructed by their husbands, brothers, and friends, they came to Krishna with unmotivated and uninterrupted devotion, like a river naturally flows into the ocean. And they saw him as follows. Okay, so this is what Ratnagarbha was reciting. Shamam hiranya paridim vanamalya barha dhatu pravala natavesham anavratangse vinyasta hastamitarena dunam namabjam karnot palalaka kapola mukabjaha hasam. Oops, what did I delete? There. And these are one of there's I think 3 most prominent verses describing the beauty of Krishna. And this is one of them. Shamam Hiranya, and then what's the next one? There's one by Brahma. God, I forgot the first word. And then there's Parhapidam Nata Varava Karnayo Karnikaram. Okay. His complexion was dark blue, and his garment golden. Wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, sprigs of flower buds, and a garland of forest flowers and leaves. He was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend, and with the other he twirled a lotus. Lilies graced his ears. His hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus-like face was smiling. Bhakti yoge shloka pore parama santoshe prabhur karnete asi korilo praveshe. As he devotedly recited the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam with great satisfaction, the sound of his recitation entered the ears of the Lord. Bhaktir prabhava matra shunila thakiya shekhane porilen murchita hoya. When the Lord heard that glorification of devotional service, he lost external consciousness and fell to the ground. Shakala parua varga vismita hoilaka shanika. Oops. Is there something missing here? Oh, that's why. It got divided in the wrong spot. Okay. Shakala parua varga vismita hoila khanika antare prabhu bahya prakashila. All the Lord's students became struck with wonder. Shortly thereafter, the Lord regained his external consciousness. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so the three verses describing Krishna's beauty in Srimad Bhagavatam is, first one is Shamam Hiranya Paridim Vanamalya Bharha. Then the next one is Nomidyate Bravapushe Tariramparaya by Brahmaji. And then the third one is Bharha Bidam Nata Varavapukarnayo Karnikaram. Okay, so when the Lord heard that he fell unconscious. The Lord's students became struck with wonder. Shortly thereafter, the Lord regained external consciousness. Bahya pai bolo bolo, bole vishvambar, gada gari jai prabhu dharani upar. Upon regaining consciousness, Vishvambar repeatedly exclaimed, "Go on reciting," as he rolled on the ground. Go on reciting, bolo, bolo. Prabhu bole, bolo, bolo, bole vipravar. Utilo samudra Krishna sukham manohar. The Lord said, "Bolo, bolo, chant, chant." And the pious Brahman continued reciting. Thus, an enchanting ocean of happiness and Krishna consciousness manifest. Lochaner jale hoilo prithvi sinchita ashrukampa pulaka shakal subidita. The earth became soaked with the tears of the Lord, who manifests ecstatic symptoms like tears, shivering, and hairs standing on end. Gaudiya Bhashya. Subidita means they were clearly manifest. Dekhe vipravar tar parama ananda pore bhakti shloka bhakti sane kori ranga. When the pious Brahman saw the Lord's great happiness, he recited the verses with increased devotion. Dekhiya tahan bhakti joger patan tushta hoy prabhu tane dila alingan. Seeing his devoted recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord became pleased and embraced him. Paya Vaikuntha Nayaker Alingan Preme Purna Ratnagarbha Hoila Takhon. Being embraced by the Lord of Vaikuntha, Ratnagarbha became filled with the love of God. Prema Purna became completely filled with prem. Prabhur Charana Dhori Ratnagarbha Kande Bandhi Hoila Dvija Chaitanyer Prema Phande. Ratnagarbha wept aloud as he clasped the Lord's feet. Thus, the Brahmana was ensnared in the network of Lord Chaitanya's love. Chaitanyer Prema Phande. Gaudiya Bhashya. The second line of this verse means to be captured by the bondage of love. Puna puna pore shlok prema jukta hoya. Bolo bolo bole Prabhu hunkar koriya. As the Brahman repeatedly recited the verses with love and devotion, the Lord loudly exclaimed, go on reciting, bolo, bolo. It's the third time it's mentioned, right? The Lord saying, bolo, bolo. Dekhiya sabar hoilo aparupa gyan, nagariya sab dekhi kore paranam. On seeing this, the local inhabitants were struck with wonder and offered their respectful obeisances. Oh, Dandavat pranams Nri Hari Prabhu and Pavatarani Mataji. Hare Krishna. I hope you're nicely situated. Okay. Na poriho ar bolilen gadadhar, sabe boshilen bedi Prabhu Vishwambhar. Then Gadadhar said, do not recite any more. And everyone sat around Lord Vishwambhar. Enough. Koneke hoila bahya drishti gora rai, ki bolo Prabhu jigyase sadai. After a short time, Lord Gauranga regained his external consciousness and inquired, What did you say? Prabhu bole ki chanchalya korilaya ami, parua shakal bole kritya tumi. The Lord asked, have I been restless? The students replied, your actions are glorious. Kritya. When I read that, I was thinking, what's been done has been done. Let's see. But Gaudiya Bhashya, it says, the word kritya means successful, glorious, satisfied, fulfilled in desire, successful attempt, or learned. Okay, so it's like kritartha. Okay. Ki bolite pari ama sabar shakati, aptagane nibarilo na kori hostuti. What power do we have to explain your activities? The Lord's intimate associates intervened. Don't indulge in praising him. Na kori hostuti. That's interesting. Bahya pai Vishwambar apana sambare, sarva gane cholilen Ganga dekhi bare. Upon regaining his consciousness, Vishwambar restrained himself. Thereafter, he went with his associates to see the Ganga. I'm just curious why they said na kori hostuti. Do not indulge in praising him. Anyways, I'm interested in that. Okay, so then upon regaining consciousness, Vishwambar restrained himself and he went with his associates to see the Ganga. Ganga namaskari Ganga jal nila shire, goshtir sahita boshilen Ganga tire. He offered obeisances to the Ganga and sprinkled water on his head. Then he sat down on the bank of the Ganga with his associates. Jamunar tire jeno bedi gopagan, nana krida korilen nander nandan, she mata shachir nandana Ganga tire, bhakter sahita Krishna prasange bihare. Just as the son of Maharaj Nanda enjoyed various sporting activities on the bank of the Yamuna while surrendered by the cowherd boys, the son of Shachi enjoyed discussing topics of Krishna on the bank of the Ganga, surrounded by his students. Gaudiya Bhashya. Just as the son of Nanda Maharaj enjoyed his pastimes with the gopis on the banks of the Kalindi river, the son of Shachi, surrounded by his students, similarly engaged in glorifying topics of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes on the bank of the Ganga. Rather than accepting that Gaurasundar spent his time discussing topics of Krishna, the foolish Gaur Nagaris imagined that he was a Nagar, or an amorous lover. In order to counteract such imagination, the author has used the phrase Krishna Prasanga, or topics related with Krishna, while describing Gaurasundar's pastime of Krishna Kirtan. কতক্ষণে সবারে বিদায় দিয়া ঘরে বিশ্বম্ভর চলিলেন আপন মন্দিরে. After some time, Vishwambar sent everyone home and then returned to his own home. ভোজন করিয়া সর্বভুবনের নাথ যোগ নিদ্রা প্রতি করিলেন দৃষ্টিপাত. There, the Lord of the entire universe took his meal and then glanced towards Yoga Nidra. I love that. Yoga Nidra prati korilen drishtipat. Such a beautiful way of saying. No. Pohailo nisha sarva paruaragon Asiya boshila punti korite chintan. After the night passed, all the students came and sat down with their books to study. Thakur aila jhata kori ganga snan boshiya koren prabhu pustaka vyakhyan. The Lord quickly returned from his bath in the Ganga. After taking his seat, he began to explain the texts. Prabhur naspure Krishna vyatireke ano shabda matre Krishna bhakti koroye vyakhyana. The Lord's explanations did not deal with anything that was not related to Krishna. He explained every word in relation to Krishna's devotional service. Gaudiya Bhashya. Gaurasundar explains every word through the completely spiritual, perfectly pure, eternally liberated, and most important Vidvad Rudhi, as being related to devotional service. With his tongue that was attached to glorifying Krishna, he would not explain any word as having a meaning not related to Krishna. Oh, and as I was explaining yesterday, there's I would really like to go over this with everybody at some point, but there's a book called Gaudiya Darshan by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, which Prem Prayojan Prabhu just translated, and it gets very deep into the meaning of what Vidvad Rudhi is and Agya Rudhi, and there's another one, and then it like breaks them down, and it's very clear. Like it's very interesting. Anyways,
Is it available, Prabhu?
it is available. Well, not online yet. Yeah. I could maybe at some point I can take some pictures on my phone and I can send it. Actually, I would like to
Actually,
do that. Yes, yes,
few days ago, you mentioned about the Big Drum website, and
yes.
I just scroll in it, and there I found some article from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and one of them was about Vyas Puja or something, but it was a very long 26 minutes. It was I took almost 1 hour some time to read it, but it was having some Sarva Darshan Sangra, how Gaur Sundar Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how destroyed all these other darshan perspectives, and all these details were there in that particular article. So because I have some little background of darshan shastra also, from our education point of view, so I am interested in if it is available.
Oh, you will love this book, Gaudiya Darshan. He goes through all the different darshans and explains our Gaudiya Darshan in relation to all the other darshans. You know, all the different schools like Patanjali and like that. So
Yes, yes, yes.
you'll love this book. Well, so yeah, I maybe at some point I'll scan it so that I can share it on the screen and we could read it all together. And then you can see the words, and then I could share the PDF with you. Yeah. Eventually, this will become a GVP publication also. Prem Prabhu gave his permission even that we could use his translation. So that was cool. Okay, we'll have to get in touch afterwards, Shubhanand Prabhu. Okay. Okay, so the Lord's explanations did not deal with anything that was not related to Krishna. He explains every word in relation to Krishna's devotional service. Parua shakale bole dhatu sangyakar, Prabhu bole Shri Krishner Shakti Namajar. The students inquired, what is the definition of dhatu, or the verbal root? The Lord replied, that which is called Krishna's energy. Gaudiya Bhashya. In answer to the students' questions, the Lord said, since Krishna's para, that's Antaranga or Swarup Shakti, manifests Krishna's Audarya, Madhurya, and Aishwarya spiritual pastimes, the energy and the energetic are thus inseparably related to each other. Similarly, when the words are derived by grammatical construction, the original form of each such expressive words let me reread that. Similarly, when words are derived by grammatical construction, the original root form of each such expressive word manifests within itself and inseparably joins meaning or potency of expression. It'd probably be a lot more clear if we saw the Bengali for that. Anyways, look at it later. Dhatu sutra vakani shunoho bhai gon dekhi kar shakti ache koruk khandan. O brothers, listen as I explain the aphorisms about dhatus. I would like to see who has the power to refute my explanation. Joto dekho raja devya kalevar kanak bhushita gandha chandane sundar. All the kings we have seen had luxurious bodies decorated with gold and beautified with fragrant sandalwood paste. Jama Lakshmi jahar bachane loke koi, dhatu bine shunotar je avastha hoy. Although their words determine a person's prosperity or death, hear what happens to them when their dhatu leaves their bodies. Gaudiya Bhashya. Yamaraj, the predominating deity of religion, or Dharmaraj. Lakshmi is the predominating deity of wealth, opulence, beauty, and prosperity. The word vachane refers to the display of mercy or compassion. The word dhatu means, in this case, not verbal root, but life air, life, consciousness, or the fragmental part of Krishna's spiritual energy, dhatu. Okay, so although their words determine a person's prosperity or death, that means Yama or Lakshmi or Yama. Hear what happens to them when their dhatu, when their pran, leaves their bodies. Kota jai sarvanger saundarya chaliya, kare bhasma kore kare eden puntiya. So, no one knows where the beauty of their bodily limbs goes, as some bodies are burned and some are buried. Sarva dehe dhatu rupe boishe Krishna Shakti, taha sane kore sneha tahane she bhakti, Brahm vashe adhyapaka na bhujaye iha, hoy noy bhai sab bhujo mana diya. Ebe jare namaskari kori manya gyan, dhatu gele tare parashile kori snan. Je baper kole putra thake mahasukhe, dhatu gele she putra agni deya mukhe. Dhatu sangya Krishna Shakti Balabhasabar, Deki iha dushuk achaye shaktikar. The energy of Krishna dwells in the body of every living entity as the dhatu, or active principle. All affection and devotion is meant for him alone. Because of illusion, teachers cannot understand this. Yet consider carefully whether I am right or wrong. There are persons to whom we now offer obeisances and respects, but when the active principle leaves their bodies, we must take bath after touching them. The son who was happily nourished on the lap of his father touches the fire of cremation to the mouth of his father after the active principle leaves him. That which is called dhatu is the power of Krishna, the beloved of all. Is there anyone who can deny this? Yeah, once somebody's dhatu, when somebody's pran leaves their body, then after seeing them, we have to take bath, right? I'm wondering if this is like with. Anyways, maybe I shouldn't. Anyway, I'm just gonna say what was on my mind. If we study these grammar without understanding Krishna being the root of everything, then this grammar is just like contaminating. Even it's just mundane, useless. Anyways, that's what I was understanding from that. I'm not sure if I'm getting it right though. Let's see the Gaudiya Bhasha.
No, it's a nice analogy. It's like touching a dead body.
Yes, that's why we have Harinama Mritya Vyakaranam, which is
right.
Let's see. Gaudiya Bhashya. For an explanation of verse 330 and the first line of verse 334, one should refer to Adi-khaṇḍa chapter 7 verses 54 to 55. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 14, verses 50 to 57, Sri Shukadev Goswami speaks to Maharaj Parikshit as follows. He says, O king, for every created being, the dearmost thing is certainly his own self. The dearness of everything else, children, wealth, and so on, is due only to the dearness of the self. For this reason, O best of kings, the embodied soul is self-centered. He is more attached to his own body and self than to his so-called possessions like children, wealth, and home. Indeed, for persons who think that the body is the self, O best of kings, those things whose importance lies only in their relationship to the body are never as dear as the body itself. If a person comes to the stage of considering the body mine instead of me, he will certainly not consider the body as dear as his own self. After all, even as the body is growing old and useless, one's desire to continue living remains strong. Therefore, it is his own self that is most dear to every embodied living being. And it is simply for the satisfaction of this self that the whole material creation of moving and non-moving entities exists. So you should know Krishna to be the original soul of all living entities. For the benefit of the whole universe, he has, out of his causeless mercy, appeared as an ordinary human being. He has done this by the strength of his internal potency. Those in this world who understand Lord Kṛṣṇa as he is, see all things, whether stationary or moving, as manifest forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such enlightened persons recognize no reality apart from the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa. The original, unmanifested form of material nature is the source of all material things, and the source of even that subtle material nature is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. What then could one ascertain to be separate from him? So Mahaprabhu continues. E mato pavitra puja je Krishner Shakti, heno Krishne bhai sab koro dridha bhakti. O brothers, please render unflinching devotional service unto Krishna, whose energy is most pure and worshipable. Bolo Krishna bhaja Krishna shuno Krishna nam, aharnisha Shri Krishna charana koro dhyan. Chant the name of Krishna, Worship Krishna and hear the name of Krishna. Day and night, meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna. Okay, that's a long commentary. Let's see what time is it. Okay. I'm just waiting for that call to come when my parents get here. Gaudiya Bhashya. You should give up rasa bhas, the incompatible mixing of transcendental mellows, and give up useless talk that is opposed to the conclusions of the scriptures and not related to Krishna, and constantly chant the holy names of Krishna with your non-duplicitous, service-inclined tongues. Rather than considering yourselves the enjoyers while enjoying external objects, you should consider yourselves the eternal ingredients for Krishna's service, and constantly remain favorably engaged in the chanting of Krishna's pure holy names. You should give up desires for sense gratification, which are born from the propensity for hearing temporary material sound vibrations based on mundane enjoyment, and hear the spiritual sound vibration of topics related to Krishna's names, which are non-different from Krishna, through your non-duplicitous service-inclined ears. I like that, service-inclined ears. Regarding the necessity of hearing about, glorifying, and remembering Sri Hari, in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.14, Sri Sutta Goswami speaks to the sages headed by Shaunak as follows. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dheya pujaschа nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.5, Sri Shukadev Goswami speaks to Maharaj Parikshit as follows. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dheya pujaschа nityada. O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the Supersoul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.36, Sri Shukadev Goswami speaks to Maharaj Parikshit as follows. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan ari sarvatra sarvada shrotavya kirtitavyascha smartavyo bhagavan nrinam. O King, it is therefore essential that every human being hear about, glorify, and remember the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, always and everywhere. Jahar charane durva jale dile matra kabu nahe jamer she adhikar patra. Anyone who offers a little water or durva grass at the lotus feet of the Lord is never subjected to the punishment of Yamaraj. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.19, Sri Shukadev Goswami explains to Maharaj Parikshit as follows. How long is this commentary? Okay, not so bad. Sakrin mana Krishna padara vindayor niveshitam tar gunaragiyar iha nate yamam pasha britash chatar bhatan swapne pipashyanti hichirna nishkrita. Although not having fully realized Krishna, persons who have even once surrendered completely unto his lotus feet and who have become attracted to his name, form, qualities, and pastimes are completely freed of all sinful reactions, for they have thus accepted the true method of atonement. Even in dreams, such surrendered souls do not see Yamaraj or his order carriers, who are equipped with ropes to bind the sinful. One second. I'm just checking to see if I got any missed calls. No, I didn't. In the Nrsimha Purana, Yamaraj speaks the following words. Aham amar ganar chitena tatrayam Oops, I'm reading this like a Bengali verse. And it's divided weird. Let's see if that's right. No, I don't know. Aham amara ganarchitena dhatrayama itiloka hitahite niyukta Hari Guru Vimukhan Prashanksi Martyan Hari Charana Pranatan Namaskaromi. Wait, where is that? That's from the Nrsimha Puran. This is Yamaraj speaking. I have been appointed by Lord Brahma, who is worshipped by the demigods, to judge people's pious and impious activities. I severely punish the materialistic fruit of actors who are averse to the spiritual master and Lord Hari. And I offer my obeisances to the Vaishnavas, who have surrendered themselves at the lotus feet of Lord Hari. In the Skanda Puran it is stated, Na Brahma na Shivagnindra Naham Nanye. God, it's all mixed up. So I have no idea what the meter for this verse is because the lines are not at all. I don't know what happened. So Na Brahma na Shivagnindra Naham Nanye Divo Kasa Shaktas tu Nigraham Kartum Vaishnavanam Mahatmanam. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Agni, Indra, myself, Yamaraj, and other demigods are unable to chastise the broad-minded Vaishnavas. Agabaka putanare je koila mochan bhajo bhajo she nanda nandana charan. Worship the lotus feet of Nanda Nandan, who delivered Agasura, Bakasura, and Putana. Okay, I'm going to skip that commentary and we'll read this commentary tomorrow. Putra buddhi chari ajamila sheshmarane chalila vaikunta bhaja Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. By remembering that the holy name was not really that of his son, Ajamil attained Vaikunta. Therefore, worship the lotus feet of Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. I'll make a note to go over this commentary afterwards. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although the most sinful Ajamil first uttered the name Narayan, referring to his son, as soon as he gave up thoughts of his son as the object of enjoyment and simultaneously remembered that the sound vibration of Narayan is non-different from Narayan himself, he immediately attains liberation by the influence of Namabhas, resulting from remembering Krishna. He was then able to enter the kingdom of Vaikunta, which is transcendental, beyond the reach of the senses, and beyond the jurisdiction of Maya. For a description of Ajamil's life, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, verses 23 to 68, as well as Chapters 2 and 3. Jahara charana sevi Shiva Digambar, Je charana sevi bare Lakshmir Adar. While serving his lotus feet, Shiva goes about naked. The service of those lotus feet is desired by Lakshmi. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it is stated, Yat padudakam adhaya Shiva shirasi nrityati yan nabhi nalinar asid Brahma loka pitamaha yad icha shakti vikshobhad brahmandodbhavam Shankshayo, I don't know why I said that. Tam aradhya govindam stanam agryam yad ichati. Sorry guys. If one desires the topmost abode, he should worship the lotus feet of Sri Govinda. For Shiva dances in ecstasy after accepting water on his head. After accepting on his head water that has washed his lotus feet. Brahma, the grandfather of mankind, is born from his lotus navel, and the creation and destruction of the universe take place simply as a result of being agitated by the power of his desire. That's from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Ananta je charana mahima guna gai, dante trina kori bhajo heno Krishna pai. Take straw between your teeth and worship Krishna, whose lotus feet are glorified by Lord Ananta. Javat achaye pran dehe ache shakti, tavat koroho Krishna pada parme bhakti. As long as there is life and strength in your body, you should render devotional service to the lotus feet of Krishna. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11.9.29, the mendicant Brahman speaks to the king of the Yadus as follows. Labdva sudurlabhamidang bahusam bhavante manusyamartadamanityamapi hadhira turnamyate tanapater anumrittu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvata syat. It's one of Srila Tripurkam Goswami Maharaj's favorite verses. After many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life as long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for a human being. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Pranadhan, Charane Doriya Boli, Krishna Dehaman. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your father. Krishna is your life and wealth. I fall at your feet and beg you to engage your minds in thinking of Krishna. Kishore says that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada also likes this verse, Labdva Sudurlabham, very much. I remember Gurudev was giving classes in Badger, in New Braj on this verse, and we all memorized it during class, like many devotees were memorizing this verse. Yeah, it's a very prominent verse. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Chaitanya Chandamrita, verse 90, it is stated, Dante nidhaya trinakam padayor nipatya kritva chakaku shatamettaraham pravimi he sadhava shakalameva vihaya durad gauranga chandra charane kurutanuragam. Taking a straw in my teeth, I fall at your feet hundreds of times and implore you with sweet words, saying, O noble soul, please throw out everything you have learned and cultivate attachment to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 7.1.32, Narad Muni speaks to Maharaj Yudhishthira as follows, Tasmat kinapyupayena mana Krishna niveshayet. Somehow or other, one must engage his mind in thinking of Krishna. Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj would quote this a lot in his letters, in the Patravali, Somehow or other, one must engage his mind in thinking of Krishna. Dasya bhave kohe Prabhu apana mahima hoilo prahar dui tabu nahi sima. 1 second. In the mood of a servant, the Lord continually narrated his own glories until half of the day had passed. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word sima means the end, completion, retirement, finished. Mohita parua sab shune ekamane dvirukti korite karo na aise vadane. The charmed students heard the Lord's explanation with rapt attention. None of them dared to open their mouths. Sheshab Krishner das, Jani ho nishchoy, Krishna jare porayena ki sheki anya hoy. Know for certain that they are all eternal servants of Krishna. When Krishna himself is teaching them, can they be anyone else? Gaudiya Bhashya. See the following verse 397. Kotokhone bahya prakashila vishvambar chahiya sabar mukha lajita antar. After a while, Vishwambar manifested his external consciousness. He felt ashamed by looking at everyone's face there. Prabhu bole dhatu sutra baka nilo keno parua shakal bole satya artha jeno. The Lord asked, how was my explanation on the sutra on dhatus? How was my explanation of the sutra on dhatus? The students replied, your explanation was correct. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word keno means how or in which way. The word jeno means as or in this way. Je shabde je artha tumi korila bakhano kar bape taha kori bare pare ano. There is no one arrogant enough to deny the meaning of every word that you have explained. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word ana means otherwise, contradictory, opposing. Jatika bakhana tumi. 1 second. That might be my parents. Let's see. Is it? No, not my parents. False alarm. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Jatika bakhana tumi sab satya hoy shabe je udeshe pori tar artha noy. Whatever you explained is perfectly true, but the aim for which we study is different. Gaudiya Bhashya. The meanings of words that you present and have presented through Vidvadruti is the only actual eternal truth. The meaning of the words that we explain through Agyaruti, though bearing the apparent meaning, is not the actual truth, but a useless interpretation. Prabhu bole koho deki amare shakal, bayu ba amare kori ache je bival. The Lord said, would you explain to me everything I said? Perhaps I've been overwhelmed by a disorder of the nerves. Or like Vayu Rog. Sutra rupe kon vritti koriye bakhan, shishya varga bole shabe ek hari nam. What import of the sutras did I explain? The students replied, you have explained the name of Hari in all of them. Sutra vritti tikai bakhana Krishna matra bujhite tomar vyakhya keva ache patra. You have explained that Krishna alone is the meaning of the sutras, the brief explanations, and the commentaries. In every sutra, every vritti, and every tika, that is Krishna alone. But who is qualified to understand your explanations? Bhaktir shabane je tomar asi hoye, tahate tomare kabu nara jnana nahe. By the transformations you undergo while hearing about devotional service, one can never consider you an ordinary human being. Gaudiya Bhashya. The first line of the verse is explained as follows. As a result of hearing the previously quoted verses indicating the glories of devotional service to Krishna, you manifested various extraordinary transcendental transformations of ecstatic love. The phrase naragyan nahe means one cannot consider you a product of matter. Prabhu bole kon rupa dekho ho amare, parua shakale bole gata chamatkare. The Lord said, in what form do you regard me? The students replied, as the perfection of all excellence. Je kampa je ashu jeva pulaka tomar, amra to kotha kabu nahi dekhi ar. We have never before seen the tears of love, the shivering, and the hairs standing on end that you manifest. Kali tumi punti jabe chinta ho nagare, tokhon porilo shlok eka vipravare. when you were teaching us yesterday in the town, a pious Brahmin recited one verse. 1 second, let me just, I think it's not a problem because I just turn on the, whatchamacallit, noise suppression. Okay, noise suppression is pretty great on this. Kali tumi punti. Okay, so when you were teaching us yesterday in the town, a pious Brahmin recited one verse. Bhagavata shloka shuni hoila murchita sarva ange nahi pran amra vismita. On hearing that verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, you fell unconscious. We were amazed to see that there were no symptoms of life visible on your body. Chaitanya paiya puna je koila krandan, Ganga jeno asya hoilo milan. The way you cried after regaining consciousness, it appeared that the goddess Ganga had manifested there. They're referring to what we read in the beginning, right, of our reading today, Ratnagarbha's recitation. Sheshe jeva kampa asi hoilo tomar, shatajan samartha na hoy dhoribar. When you eventually started shivering, even 100 persons were unable to hold you still. Apadama, what's that? Apadamastaka hoilo pulake unnati, lala gharma dhulai vyapita gora murti. The hairs of your entire body stood on end, and your golden form was smeared with sweat, saliva, and dust. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase pulake unnati means hairs standing on end. Apurva bhava shab dekhe jata jan, shabe bolen e purusha narayan. Everyone who saw you was struck with wonder and said, "This person is Narayan himself." Keho bole Vyasa Shuka Narada Pralad Tasabar Samajogya e mata prasad. Someone said, the mercy he has received is comparable to that received by Vyasadev, Shukadev, Narad, and Prahlad. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Emata Prasad means such mercy of the Lord. Tabe meli dhorilen koriya ashakati, koneke tomar asi bahya hoilo mati. Then, with all their strength, they all held you still. And shortly after, you regained external consciousness. Gaudiya Bhashya. The second line of the verse indicates that after a short time, his external consciousness returned. Esa britanta tumi kichui na jano, ar katha kohi taha chitta diya shuno. You do not know all these incidents. Now please hear attentively what we have to say. Dina dasha dhori koro jate Vyakyan Sarva Shastre Shabde Krishna Bhakti Krishna Nam. Since the past 10 days, you've explained that devotional service to Krishna and the holy name of Krishna is the meaning of every word of every Shastra. Dasha din dhori aji patavada hoy, kohite tomare shabe basi boro bhoy. For the last 10 days, our studies have been held up, and we were afraid to inform you of this. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase patavad means a cessation, stoppage, or rejection of teaching and learning. Shabder ashesha artha tomar gochar, jevakhana hasitaha ke dibe uttar. You know the unlimited meanings of every word. Who has the power to contradict even your light-hearted comments? Gaudiya Bhashya. The first line of this verse is explained as follows. You alone are the greatest and most expert in linguistic literature. You are the most experienced person to explain the meanings of words through various brief explanations under the categories of yoga, rudhi, goni, mukhya, lakshana, and abhidha. There's a footnote, but I can't see it. Anyways, it probably explains all these. Abhidhan, abhideya. Oh, The direct meaning or the implication? Okay. প্রভু বলে 10 দিন পাঠবার যায় তবে তো আমারে সবে কহিতে জুজায়. The Lord said, your studies have been held up for 10 days? Shouldn't you have informed me of this? Gaudiya Bhashya. The second line of this verse means, in such a situation, wasn't it proper to inform me of this matter regarding the cessation of studies? Parua shakal bole bakana uchit, Satya Krishna shakal shastre samihita. The students replied, your explanations were correct. The purport of all scriptures is that Krishna is the absolute truth. Adhyayan eshe shakala shastra sar, tabe je naloy dosha ama sabakar, mule je bakana tumi, gyatavyashte se, tahate naloy chitta nija karma doshe. This is real study and the essence of all scriptures, and it is our fault if we do not accept it. Whatever you have explained is fundamental truth and the only knowledge worthy of the name. It is due to our own misdeeds that we do not accept it. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although the only aim, intention, and purport of all scriptures is to understand Krishna, due to our own offenses, we do not accept your scriptural explanations based on Krishna. Actually, our only goal is to realize the meaning of words in the way you explain and have explained them. But due to the fault of misfortune, our minds are incapable of grasping the true purport of the essence of all scriptures as explained by you. Paruar bakhe tushta hoila thakur, kohite lagila kripa koriya prachur. The Lord was pleased on hearing the students' words. Out of compassion, he began to speak as follows. What verse are we reading up to today? Let me just check. Let me make this full screen, then I'll see. 373. Okay, that's where we were planning to read up to today. And yeah. And I will read that purport that we skipped. That was a bit too long. And I'll end here. All right. I'm happy that we were able to read through all of this before my parents came. Strange that they haven't arrived yet, though. They're supposed to arrive a long time ago. Anyways. So we'll continue. I think we'll finish this chapter tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. So I was trying to read fast, and so I wasn't paying attention to the comments very much. But I'm just seeing Rukmini Didi's comments here. Just on that previous point, she was thinking the same thing about dhatu, in the grammar. I mean, who studies grammar without dhatus, verbs? Haribol Vidyalala Sadidi. Oh, and it's Divokasash. Okay, I missed that. Oh, and regarding that footnote that we skipped, okay. So, I mean, I couldn't find it in the thing because it's on a different PDF, different Word document, but Rukmini shared it. It says, the Shabda Vritti termed Mukhya is the primary literal meaning of the word. This is also known as abhidha, or a word's denotation, or the dictionary meaning. Mukhya vritti is further divided into two categories, namely ruddhi and yoga. A primary meaning is called ruddhi when it is based on conventional usage, and yoga when it is derived from another word's meaning by regular etymology. Is based on conventional usage, and yoga when it is derived from another word's meaning by regular etymological rules. Besides its mukhya vritti, or primary meaning, a word can also be used in a secondary, metaphorical sense. This usage is called lakshana. The function of lakshana is technically explained in the Kavya Shastras as an extended reference, pointing to something in some way related to the object of the literal meaning. Guna vritti is a special kind of lakshana, where the meaning is extended to some idea of similarity. See also the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 7.110. And it's a very long footnote. She left out all the examples. But this is great. I would love to get more clear in all that, like really understand all those words and see the examples over it another time also. Thank you. All right. Maybe tomorrow if there's time we can go through all those meanings, like all the like more carefully and see the examples and all that. All right, Kishore Prabhu, could you do Jaidvani?
प्रकार शेषे गौरंग गण हरि गिरिधरे राधा विनर विहरे राधा नायनाथ राधरमन विहरे राध माधव शशि महाप्रभु राधरमन जीव की जय श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदनमोहन जीव की जय जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार परमहंस व्रजचार्य वर्य स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोस्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार परमहंस व्रजचार्य वर्य स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिविज्ञान नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज पतित पावन श्री गुरुदेव की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति बल तीर्थ गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिविज्ञान वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिविज्ञान त्रिविक्रम गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति रक्षक श्रीधर गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिविज्ञान स्वामी गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति द्वैत गोस्वामी परम गुरु महाराज की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज परम गुरुदेव की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान जगद्गुरु श्री वृषभानावि द्वैतदास शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय स्वापरिकार श्रील प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार महापरम भगवत प्रभार परमहंस अष्टोत्तरस्त शिशुमार गौर किशोर दास भविष्य महाशय की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार सप्तम गोस्वामी अष्टोत्तरस्त शिशुमार सचितानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर महाशय की जय नित्यालील प्रविष्टम विष्णु पार वैष्णव सर्वभौम अष्टोत्तरस्त शिशुमार जगन्नाथ दास बाबजी महाशय की जय श्री अकुंदवासी सिद्धा शिल मधुसुंदस बाबजी महाराज की जय श्री उदवदास उदरन दास की जय गुरुविदान आचार्य श्री श्रीमान बलदेव विभूषण प्रभु की जय महामहोपरत्याय कृष्ण मुनि शिल विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर पार की जय शेषेल रसिकानंद मुरारी प्रभु की जय शेषेल रामचंद्र कविराज की जय श्री गोविंद दास कविराज की जय श्री लोचन दास ठाकुर की जय शैलेंद्र हरीश्वर ठाकुर की जय जय शैलेंद्रोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभुतराय की जय श्री श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय यश अवतार अर्का विशल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय श्री अष्टकविराज सुरजानव नित्यानंद दुर्श गोपाल श्री चौषति महंत की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन पट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल पट्टरास रघुनाथ सर्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर रमानंद लोकनाथ भूगर्भ अदि गौर परिषाद वृंद की जय। श्री गंगादास पंडित की जय। श्री रत्नगर्भ आचार्य की जय। जय नमाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री शील ईश्वर पुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। श्री शील मारविंद्र पुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। श्री अंतर्दीप मायपुर समन्देव गौद्रमदेव मध्यादेव बलदेव ऋतुदेव जानुदेव माधुरत्नमादेव रुद्रदेव मात्मका श्री नाभदेव धाम की जय। श्री एक चक्र धाम की जय। श्री शांतिपुर धाम की जय। श्री गौरचंद्र भगवान की जय। जय श्री श्री गौर गदाधर जीव की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ गोपी गोपा गो गिरि गोवर्धन वृषभनाथ माक श्री ब्रजमंडल धाम की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंग सखी यामन सखी तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा रानी ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री ललिता विशाख चत्र चंपकलत तुंग विद्या इंदुलेखा रंगदेवी सुदेवी हरि सख्य वृंद की जय। जय श्री आनंग प्रेम मंजलाल शेरूपलवंग राग विलस गुणरति कस्तूरी कमल नयन मणि अरि मंजारी वृंद की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भगवती पूर्णमास योगमाय देवी की जय। जय जय श्री गोपीश्वर सरशिव महादेव की जय। जय राधा पटन की राम श्री वृंदावन की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र नीलमाधव जीव की जय। जय श्री तत्त गोपीनाथ की जय। जय श्री जगत पर्वत की जय। जय शिल प्रभुपाद जन्मस्थान की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथपुरी पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र मंडल नीलाचल धाम की जय। जय श्री दंड मंगल लीलास्थली की जय। जय सर्वा विघ्न करे भक्त विघ्न विनाश श्री इंद्र सिंह देव की जय। भक्तराज भक्त प्रभुद श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। श्री प्रहलाद लक्ष्मीन्द्र समदेव की जय। जय श्री चरिताम चरि संप्रदाय चरि आचार्य की जय। श्री मध्वार मनोज विष्णु स्वामी नंबदित्य चर्याचार्य की जय। आकर मथुरा श्री चैतन्य मात की जय। श्री गौरीमाद वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमाद भगवताम भगवदगीता चैतन्य चरितामृत चैतन्य भगवत जैव धर्म हरि सर्व गौरी वैष्णव ग्रंथ वृंद की जय। श्री गौरी दर्शन की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन धर्म की जय। जय त्रिभुवन मंगल धन्य कलियुग तरक ब्रह्म श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे महामंत्र की जय। जय श्री आनंद पुरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री समकट गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम व्याकरण की जय। जय परमा सत्यम परमेश्वर और पतित पावन प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम स्वयं भगवान जगन्नाथ मिश्र नंदन गौर सुंदर गराधर प्राणनाथ श्री विशंबर मिश्र निमाय पंडित श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य चंद्र महाप्रभु की जय। परमा दयाल श्रीमान नित्यानंद बलराम महाजान की जय। जय व्यस जय श्री चैतन्य भगवान की जय। जय वसवतार अरिकावेश्वरी श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री श्रील प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर की जय। जय शिल प्रभुपाद गौरी वश्य की जय। जय श्रीनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देव्यै प्रिययै केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Oh, ঠিক আছে। হরি বল। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ।
If you could sing go down.
All right, that was the driver, and he was he said that they're going to be 1 hour later. So he said that they're in Ranaghat. Like there was like, yeah, but he said that a long time ago. Anyways, there's a big traffic delay. Oh, there's construction going on there. Anyways, that works out better for me. So, all right, Dandava pranams, everybody. Oh well, I guess we could have read that purport. There wasn't such a rush, anyways. But anyhow, it's perfect timing now, and I'll see you all tomorrow to finish up. We'll read the rest of this chapter 1, and yeah. All right, let me just look at the comments really quick. Okay. All right, Dandava pranams. Hari bol, everybody. All right, Dandava pranams. Okay, see you all tomorrow. Thank you, Rukmini Didi. Hari bol. Yes, and I will convey your Dandava pranams to my parents when I see them. Right. Hari bol. Hare Krishna. Oh, actually, wait. Before I end, is there anything that anybody wanted to mention before we stop the video?
Well, there's so much. But one very important thing, please play my Dandava pranams to your parents.
Oh, for sure. They'll be
much
very
affection.
okay. I
Mine
will.
too.
Okay. All right.
Time.
Jai Ho. Dandava. All right. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.